Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand call-in show. Erik ten Hag, is he the answer or not? A lot of different opinions in the fan base. For me personally, I just want to start off and say I would absolutely not be sacking Ten Hag right now. I would be keeping him. I think you've at least got to give him till the end of the season, but get your opinions in, and that's what we're going to get the callers in to ask the questions. Who is to blame? Is it the players? Is it the manager? Is it the board? Is it a combination of everyone? Should Erik ten Hag stay? Would you be guys looking at alternatives? I know people are thinking about that. Personally, for me, I would keep him, but let me know what you guys think. And it should be, I mean, it's not a good call-in show because obviously we've lost and we're out of the Champions League, we're out of Europe. It's disappointing, but it'll be a good call-in show to get all your guys' opinions in, and that's what it's all about. Double A, I'll start off with you, ask the question. Obviously, people are talking about Erik ten Hag and where his future lies at Man United. Are you firmly on the side of keep him? Are you questioning him? Like, where are you at?
I agree with you. I think he deserves the chance to turn it around. It's so easy to say, right, we're out of Champions League, he needs to go. We've got Liverpool, we're going to get beat, and if we get beat, he has to go. It's quite an easy thing to say, but it's a hard thing to fix if he does go. Because, you know, the person I'd love to speak to about, you know, who refuses to give us an answer on why Erik ten Hag should go is Faz, but he won't give us a solution on what Manchester United should do. I don't think anyone has the answer on who should come in, who could fix it right now. Erik ten Hag is in a mess, and we all can see that. We know exactly what's going wrong at the moment with the football club, on and off the pitch, and I think he really is just one of several different problems we currently have within Manchester United, and he's not void of criticism, and last night is a lot to do with him, and I think the Champions League campaign, he has to take a lot of criticism, and he has to understand he has to do better in everything, in a lot of the things he's doing at the moment. But I honestly, it sounds like a broken record saying this, and certain Erik ten Hag outers will combat it and just say it's not true. I don't think there's anyone in world football that comes in and solves the problem that is Manchester United in terms of a manager. I just don't think. You can talk about Pep, and Pep maybe get a tune out of some of these players a little bit more, but we spoke off air. These players are losers, and they've got a losing mentality, and eventually the true colours are always going to show. And I'm not blindly following Erik ten Hag, and I think if he continues to fail, you have to look at it at the summer. If we have a really bad campaign, and in May we're way off even top 8, or out of every cup early, and it's seen as a really bad season, then we have to look at it. Getting rid of him in December when we're going through structural changes, we don't know if we can bring players in January. There's so much upheaval at this club. Getting rid of the manager to bring in a manager to come into all of that in the middle of a struggling season, for me, is a recipe for disaster. So for now, we have to stick by Ten Hag and let him work it out, let him figure it out. Everything is going wrong, and you look at the squad, and you look from last night, you look at that bench. He's had to put out the best team he thought possible, because that bench was, Jordan said it on the build-up.
Obviously, it's not the first time it's happened though, and injuries have been through the squad.
But you can't blame that. But if you look at that squad last night, it's like it's a bench that you put out if we'd won the group, because you can put some kids in and give them a taste of Champions League football. But at the end of the day, you have to look at it, and we all wanted this manager. I can't remember any fan saying he didn't want Ten Hag, and over 18 months he's not become the worst manager in the world, and I don't think he's just not performing to the level he was last season, and that's allowed with managers, it is with players. So I think we have to stand by him for now, stick by him for now, but he has to quickly turn it around, because if he doesn't, I think he will get sacked, sadly.
Well, we'll see what everybody else has to say. Get your say in. DZ is our first caller. He wants to talk about Erik ten Hag and the players. This should be an interesting one. DZ, are you on the line?
Hello there, brother DZ.
DZ?
Hey guys, how are you?
Hi DZ.
Hi, bro,
welcome
you okay?
to the show.
Hey, yeah, I'm good. How are you guys doing?
I mean, just get into it, DZ. Obviously, I think last time we spoke, you was still firmly backing Erik ten Hag. He's still in the same place, and I know you think these players have a loser's mentality. You can see that is running through the club at the moment. Where are you at on this?
Yeah, I think it was the call after we beat Crystal Palace in the cup, and I was like, there's still bottlers in the team, and it's evident. And I'm backing Erik ten Hag for a few points, and I honestly probably will forget most of them, so I'm just going to go with the critical ones. One, there's no other manager that will take over and make us better. The club's an absolute mess, top to bottom. And we're still seeing that because the takeover was supposed to happen a month ago, 2 weeks ago. It's supposed to happen next week. It'll happen in 3 weeks. We don't know. And the second point is, everyone loves the idea of a total rebuild without actually being patient and waiting for the results. I was the one who sent you the picture of the Arsenal squad, and I hate comparing us to Arsenal, but Arteta inherited one team, and he has 3 people now with the same team he inherited, right? It's Reece Nelson, Emile Smith-Rowe, and Saka. That's it. He got rid of 22 players, maybe because they're academy players, maybe it's 25 players. I don't know. Yeah. But full clear out. And we're sitting here saying our players aren't good enough. Okay, maybe the manager's not good enough too. But the players aren't good enough. Same bunch of that have gotten 4 managers fired. When is enough enough? These guys are not good enough for the club.
Is it? I'm just saying, trying to, play devil's advocate. It's not the same bunch of players that got all managers sacked. You've got Anthony there, you've got Amrabat there, you've got, I know Mason Mount's not in the team, but you've got Mason Mount, you've got Højlund, you've got Casemiro, you've got Martinez, you've got players that are here that weren't here when Van Gaal and Mourinho were here. Like,
you're making a good point.
New players come in, it stays the same.
Yeah.
No, I think you're making a valid point, because where Erik ten Hag deserves a lot of criticism for me, there's two things. One, playing style this season. I have no idea why we changed it from last year. And number 2 is recruitment. The recruitment this summer is making less and less sense every single week. I have no idea why on earth we spent £60 million on Mason Mount. I have no idea why we replaced the goalie. And yes, everyone is in love with the concept of Højlund, but he has not scored in the Prem, which is our only competition now, minus the FA Cup. But, I just don't understand why that was the caliber of striker we went for the price we paid for, with what we needed. Because last year we were creating a number of chances, and Weghorst isn't very good. So when we get a quality striker, we'll get the goals. Okay, so now we have the quality of striker, and now we're not creating enough chances. So this is where he deserves blame, in my opinion. But I just don't see any value in firing him now or until the end of the season. It just does not make any sense. And look, if you don't trust him with buying players, club hierarchy, don't give him any money in January and make him develop these guys, which is what he was supposed to be really good at, and really give him the test until the end of the season. If it doesn't work, you move off, you give the new manager a bunch of money, see how it pans out. But yeah, I just don't see any benefit.
If Ten Hag was watching now, DZ, and you could give him some pointers on where you think what he needs to do to turn it round as quick as possible, and that's what we need him to do. And I mean as quick as possible, as in Sunday, he needs to turn it round. For Sunday, what are you telling him he needs to do, and how he can get a result at Liverpool? Because a 2-0 loss is still a loss. It doesn't matter if it's 2 off 7. We need to get a draw or a win at Anfield, I feel, for him. How does he go about doing that for you?
Yeah, so here's what I would tell any Man United club staff member, right? Like, Liverpool have won 3 games with 10 men. We could have 15 men, and we probably still won't win a game. So you need to absolutely put 2 6s in there and stop this whole experiment thing. It is not working. It has not been working. And because Bruno is suspended, I'd probably keep McTominay and just put him at the 10. But I want to see where we had a fluid attack, where they're rotating wings, at one point, Anthony's playing striker, somebody else is playing right wing, just like full movement. You saw that with Bayern yesterday, where they don't just stay in one place, which is, I feel like, what we do.
We're so static, aren't we? We move forward.
Yeah, it's just, honestly, and I think it's just, there's so many excuses for the players, and there's so many excuses for the manager, but ultimately none of it is good enough. So just protect the back 4. Try not to concede a goal and hit them on the counterattack, which is something that United have always done under every single manager. Yeah. And utilize Højlund's pace too. If he's so good at doing one thing, play to his attributes. Don't try and play him in another way, because I think his hold of play is atrocious, if I'm being honest. I thought it was very bad against ES2, very physical. I'm not going to scapegoat. None of them were good enough yesterday.
No,
so
you're right.
DZ, I think you're talking a lot of truth there. Obviously, there is some points I disagree with, but a lot that I agree with. Yeah. And at the end of the day, you are right. It's on both the manager and the players. And I don't think we're catering to anybody's speciality apart from maybe Bar McTominay, who we're trying to fit into the team in some sort of way. But DZ, thank you so much for calling up.
Thanks,
guys.
DZ. Speak to you soon. Take care.
Appreciate it, bro. Take care.
I feel you can feel the frustration in his voice. DZ is normally someone who tries to be as positive as always. We speak to him on the spaces. He's always trying to find that little nugget of positivity to take through. He couldn't even talk about Amrabat in any positive way, which we know he definitely likes to do.
Yeah.
So for DZ to come on and feel a little bit downhearted about everything kind of tells you where the fan base is at the moment.
Absolutely. Who have we got next?
So yeah, next caller we have got Rock. And Rock wants to talk about how he feels the board has let Erik ten Hag down and how he's now getting the slack because of that, and thinks also Erik overachieved.
That's interesting.
Yeah, well, Rock, let us know your thoughts and welcome to the show.
You right, man? How you lot doing?
Well, good. Good to speak to you.
Thank you, Rock.
Yes.
Bro, I just can't believe it, man. This board has let down so... It's not even just Ten Hag. Every manager who's been here, but it's always the manager who gets the flack because they're the ones on the TV.
Yeah.
How many big contracts and wages has this board given out for them not to be able to get moved on for the next manager, and then the manager gets blamed? It's craziness. The fact that we gave Harry Maguire 200k on a 5-year or 6-year contract, and we can't get rid of him, but it's Ten Hag's fault that we don't have a centre back.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
It's sort of a snowball effect, isn't it? You know, there was a lot of people talking about the Bournemouth game, how he's still having to play players from Van Gaal, 3 or 4 managers ago, and a manager never gets a clean slate, never gets a new start, a fresh page. He's always having to deal with issues from previous managers. For you then, with Erik ten Hag, and I asked the same question at DZ. What do you think he needs to do now to sort of try and get this around? Do you think the players are playing for him? How do you see that as well? But what do you think Ten Hag needs to do immediately to get sort of everyone back on side?
I don't think there's anything he can do. I think the fans have made up their opinion, or some of them have.
Yeah.
And like he for me, if he gets UCL football and has a decent run in the FA Cup, I think he's got to stay. I think he should stay anyway.
Yeah.
I think he overachieved massively last year. I think this year, considering all the injuries we've had, we shouldn't be 6th. We should be around 10th or 12th where Chelsea are, but we're not. Champions League, I'll put it on Erik and the team because we had enough to get through. But he's still overachieved massively with all these circumstances.
Rock, can I ask you a question? Obviously, I'm just playing devil's advocate because I need to get the kind of right response out of you. But what would you say to fans that say, well, Newcastle have had worse injuries than Man United, and our injuries have been bad, granted, and Erik ten Hag spent 400 million on players that don't look like they're going to work? What would you say to that?
I would tell them, Erik didn't spend 400 million. The board spent 400 million.
Yep.
They spent 200 million over what they should have been spending.
I agree with you on that.
That board has there's no project at Man United at all. When you look at Chelsea, they're going for young players. Okay, you see what they're doing. Man United, there's nothing. The fact that Ten Hag has been able to be in control of transfers, which isn't his job, he's not a scout, he shouldn't be good at it anyway. The fact that he's been allowed to have that responsibility just shows how inept the board is. They couldn't do their own job. And what little did they have to do with the transfer fees and the wages, they messed that up as well. Yeah,
and they're so lucky on that because it's known Ten Hag is in charge that all the blame is then shifted on him. You're absolutely right. The board have let him down. It's not a team of people. Erik ten Hag and director of football, sporting director, all coming together, formulating a plan, and then locating the right players and the right profile of players to come into the club. And DZ mentioned it, and it's like Højlund comes in for 70 million when he's a 30-40 million pound player, and then you go and get an experienced striker alongside him, and then you're building a squad better because you've got an actual plan. You bring in a young lad in for 70 million, straight away, and we've seen it with Anthony, straight away the price tag gets thrown at him every time he has a bad game, and then because Højlund's not scoring in the league, now he's just a wrestler. He's just fighting everyone all the time, and he's not actually any good.
Can I just say one more thing as well?
Yeah, go ahead, Rock.
I came on here talking about we need a Varane back. It was night and day when Harry Maguire left that field. I'm sorry about his injury, but it was worth it, man. It was worth it. I've been saying for weeks, that guy has been hiding behind all these white lines on the pitches. He moves inside, doesn't want to show for Onana. He epitomises the Glazers to me. The fact that he didn't leave is criminal. The worst player in Man United's history, worst captain in Man United's history. Like I said, man, now we've got Varane back, I feel a bit more at ease because Maguire's had an easy ride. People say he's resilient, very resilient on 200k a week. Very resilient.
What I would say on that, Rocky, is obviously I think Varane was great last night, and I'm so glad he's back in the team.
Yeah.
I don't think we should ever say it's worth it for a player getting injured.
No,
obviously,
absolutely
but
not.
You're entitled to your opinion, but I personally think Harry's been doing really well, but I think Varane played well next to him, and then he played well next to Johnny Evans. I've seen a few people in the chat saying, you know, Beth Ten Hag didn't pick Johnny Evans, he wanted Kim and Jay, and I was just asking a question before. I'm completely on board with the fact that I think this board has massively let Eric Ten Hag down. Eric Ten Hag shouldn't be doing manager, sporting director, scout, negotiator. He shouldn't be doing all of these things.
No.
Absolutely not. I'm completely on board with that. We missed out on De Jong. We missed out on Kim and Jay. Harry Kane, he wanted as well. But
twice.
not everybody gets the first choice.
No.
But the board should be able to provide a list of brilliant alternatives that fit his style of play, that are at a good price. But sadly, we can't do that. But Rock, thank you so much for calling up.
Thank you so much, Rock. Great to speak to you, pal.
Thank you, Rock. Got some super chats in. Cyber Spider says sacking Eric now is like taking the top off a Russian doll but leaving the others when you need to take them all to get to the court and fix it. Interesting analogy. Didn't know where that was going at first. Ronnie Dodge says need Mount in the midfield ASAP. Eric needs time. That might be a bit of an unpopular one, but I wish Mount was available for Sunday, but unfortunately he's not. Chris Pistol says, how do you guys not consider the Liverpool game a write-off? That's crazy to me. Tommy, welcome to the United Stand Members Club. Red Devil, let's give him a decent sporting board and judge him. The club's been a mess for a decade. Exactly, we need to see him under this Sir Jim sort of situation when we have Claude Blanc in, we're going to have Paul Mitchell in. I want to see Ten Hag under that before I make any decisions.
We hope that's what's going to happen.
But then they might come in and want a different direction.
Exactly.
That's what Chelsea did,
I'm still sceptical of all this Sir Jim Radcliffe stuff. He's not the person I wanted at the club because he's in bed with the Glazers effectively, and the Glazers are the worst thing that's ever happened to Manchester United. Past, obviously, Munich, obviously. I'm not going to say it's worse than that. But, I mean, it's a travesty that we can't get rid of these owners. And I don't want to go on a rant about the ownership, but, you know, I think if you go and watch the morning show with Mark, he said everything that I fully agree with in where this club is. And we are now, unfortunately, receiving the treatment of their neglect for 10 years under... We've seen the two best people in football, in Alex Ferguson and David Gill, leave the club, the best in their positions, who ran the club throughout, the two of them, and they could do that. And now football's moved on where you need a team of people to do every little thing, come together as a team. And because they've not done that, and because he passed it over to Woodward, who thought he was, you know, he had the keys to the kingdom and wanted to be Lord of Old Trafford, and it's just festered and it's just bred this sort of almost acceptance that you can be bad at your job and you can be poor in making decisions, and there's absolutely there's no comeback from it. You're allowed to just continue to do it because you know the owners or you're friends with the owners. And until I personally feel, until the Glazers have gone, I just don't think Manchester United will ever be anywhere near they should be or we expect them to be. And sadly, the mistakes will just keep happening. And I really don't think Jim Radcliffe has got what it takes to turn it around fully or even compete with the teams that are just blowing us away. You talk about Newcastle and Spurs and everyone.
I think a lot of people think that, especially considering the financial impact of the likes that Newcastle and City can have now. And we'll just have to wait and see. I'm clinging on to hope because that's all I have. It's not going to be anything else. But I agree. It was a great morning show talking about that sort of thing. And I feel like all fans, whether they're Eric Ten Hag in or out, I feel like the majority of fans are Eric Ten Hag in. There obviously is some that are turning, but I think we can all agree that the main reason the club is where it is right now is because of the horrible ownership. But
absolutely. Tyler,
next up, Double A.
Yeah, we've got Tyler on, and he wants to. Tyler, you go ahead. I'll stop talking. You tell us your point and what would you like to speak about. It's nice to speak to you as well.
Nice to speak to you. So what I want to speak about is basically like the structure of the club. So I believe that basically no matter what manager comes in to replace Ten Hag, if we sacked him, we'd be no better off in the short term or long term until there's a fixed structure and stability above the club to handle the chaos with him. Before sacking Ten Hag, we need a director and a sporting director to provide clear vision within the club.
Yeah.
Since Ten Hag has been at the club, he has had no stability and order within the club, such as handling situations like Anthony and Mason Greenwood and Sancho. He's not had a proper director that negotiates realistic prices for players without United having their pants pulled down, and a director who will recommend players for using like a sporting database to recruit cheaper players and ones that will be more suitable to the way he wants to play. I think it'd be harsh to sack him until he's had at least, say, 6 months with a proper working cohesion with a sporting director and CEO in place. Like, when you look at a big industry, if the board of directors isn't working properly, it will trickle down and it will affect the employees that are working in and have like psychological impact on those people. And that was what could be happening with those players. And when you look at Newcastle, they said like once the takeover happened and they had a clear structure and vision in place, momentum of the club changed, and that could be a similar situation for United.
Absolutely, what brilliant points that was, Tyler. Absolutely fantastic, mate. Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. You look at Newcastle, they're not overspending. Look at the amount United are spending on players. They're bringing in quality players that fit the way they are, the direction they're going in at this moment in time, and you're seeing the results of it.
I don't think people want to hear this, but to actually fully get the beneficial factors of what the new sporting director, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and the people he's going to bring in to change the whole recruitment process, to actually reap the rewards of that and see how it's going to be, you probably need 1 or 2 transfer windows under that ownership with Ten Hag. You probably need another year at least. You need the summer, probably a January as well, just to kind of have a look at that. And people won't want to be that patient. No, but realistically, exactly like you said, are the scouts even scouting players out to suit Erik Ten Hag's style of play? It doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like it seems like there's plan A. We spend so long on plan A, falls through, and then panic. Yeah. That's how it feels. And even plan A, we're completely overpaid on if we do end up getting that. It's a weird one. But, I mean, great points about the structure of the club. I want to ask you, Tyler, a little bit off topic, but I hope you'll answer this one. A lot of fans getting on the back of Rasmus Højlund after last night's performance. Obviously, not scored any Prem goals but yet, which a few fans are a bit frustrated with, and did get bullied basically by Upamecano and Kim Min-jae, but so did the whole of our front line. Garnacho and Anthony didn't have much joy either. No. Anthony was probably the best, but still nothing really. No. But Højlund is obviously, I think it's because he's not scored goals in the Prem, people are starting to think about it. A lot of fans still behind him, but what are your thoughts on Rasmus? Do you think it's not getting the service? Do you think it's his age? Like, someone pointed out to me today, he's the same age as Joe Hugo, which no one can believe. So what do you think it is, Tyler?
I think it's a lot of things, really. I think one of the main things is we're not playing to his strengths. So, like, when you look at him, he's got a lot of pace on him. When you looked at his goal against Galatasaray, I think it was, he literally ran forward and used his pace to get past people. And we're playing him with his back to goal against, like, 2 centre-backs, and he has a lot of back injuries, and that's one of the things that I think he'll be more risk to injury in the future if we keep playing him that way and we're not enhancing his strengths. I also think a lot of it is down to like injuries and structure and being able to move up the pitch. I think like the fact that we lost like Lisandro Martinez to it as well, and we haven't played with Casemiro and we've not played with that solid base of a 2 like we did last season. I think that's had a lot of the thing of moving the ability to move up the pitch and play a higher line. And due to that, I think it's also having effect on like our forward players and enabling them to build those patterns of play and get used to playing in the final third.
I think you're absolutely right. I think you're absolutely right. Tyler, you're speaking complete sense.
Absolute top-tier ball knowledge,
yeah,
Tyler,
top
honestly.
tier. Very good call.
I have to say last night, and you raised a good point, because of him playing his back to goal so much, he absolutely had no protection from the referee last night, I thought Upamecano and Kim Min-jae were really, and you expect it with these, top-class defenders, really rough on him, and I don't think some of them for me were definite fouls, and the referee was just blindly looking over it every single time. He could have won a few free kicks for us, but the referee didn't want to do it, and I felt sorry for Højlund because I think he always works hard. You see that in him. He's got that mentality to keep going. But without help from his teammates and also the referee, that's why fans are getting on his back, because it looks like he's struggling when really, like Tyler's saying, we're not playing to the kids' strengths.
And plus, I think... Sorry, Tyler.
Can I just say one more thing?
Yeah.
Another thing, and it might not be a popular opinion, but if you get the CEO and a director in, I wouldn't sign a single player in January. I'd get rid of anyone that's caused toxicity to the club, anyone that's had anything negative that's affected and gone against the manager. I'd clear it all out, because the thing is, if you're going to bring new players in, those new players might learn those new behaviours and pass it on into the next transfer window. I think this January transfer window, if you get a new CEO in, it needs to be removing any player that's caused any negativity.
Although I agree, we might have no players left though. I think the rumours you hear, we might be playing the under-18s, Tyler. But I agree with what you're saying. It's about time these players that have been here too long have festered a little bit too long in that dressing room, and probably think they can outlast the manager now because of the status within the club and the contracts they're on. You probably think they've got more power than certain managers. So, but I agree with you. Getting rid of them is
and a lot of people don't realise, like, once you get a CEO in and a director in, it could take a few months for them to get for that plan to come to fruition.
Yeah.
So that's why I think you need to give Ten Hag time until their actual plan starts to take place, because it could take a few months for them to build it. Because, like, as they were saying with Qatar were looking at coming in, they were going to do like 100 days review period. Like, they've got to review like what they need to change in that club, and until that's done, no plan can really be put in place. So I think you need to give Ten Hag time until like that system and structure's put in place for him to work in.
Yeah.
Tyler, I completely agree. Thank you very much for your call.
Fantastic call.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tyler. Take care, pal.
I mean,
have a good day.
You too.
You too, Tyler. Thank you very much. I agree with him in that sense. It's like, people don't like this phrase, but Rome wasn't built in a day.
No.
At the moment, we are going backwards. It's like we're knocking it down a little bit. But like you said, this has been building up for years.
Yeah.
On the Højlund point, I just wanted to add something in from a super chat here. Cyber Spider says, name me one chance he actually had to score last night. People need to remember the best scorers have 20-30% conversion rate.
Yeah.
There was a stat, I don't know if it's still the same, but a couple of weeks ago where Haaland had the worst conversion rate as a striker in the league, yet he scored like the most goals, something stupid like that, because they're constantly creating for him.
Exactly.
Højlund gets absolutely nothing.
Scraps.
And plus, this is why a lot of people are saying we needed Harry Kane, because we needed a ready-made striker. I think we needed Højlund and somebody else.
Yeah.
I still am glad we bought him, do not get me wrong, and I think he's going to be top quality. But yesterday it reminded me of one of them games that he's going to look back in a later stage of his career and think that was a proper learning curve for me.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Upamecano, Kim Min-jae, they bullied him all game.
Yeah.
I know you said the ref didn't have his back. He didn't, but also you're going to get them nights where a centre-back's constantly in your back.
Yeah.
And to be fair, his head didn't drop. He kept running, he kept trying.
And he never does.
He said in an interview last season that the hardest player he's ever come up against is Chris Smalling. So this is where we're at. And no disrespect to Chris Smalling, Ricky, but he's a good player.
He's brilliant
a good centre-back and he's experienced in Serie A. But if you're playing in the Champions League for Man United, you're going to come up against
the best,
better than Chris Smalling.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
It's a good learning experience for him, despite us going out.
And I think people forget that he's 20.
Yeah.
I think they think he's 25, 26, and he's just getting on the back of a kid.
Because we spent so much money.
Exactly, and I think you talk about the summer, and he was definitely the striker I wanted, as well as an experienced striker. And I think, looking at it now, we really missed a trick, because he was a free signing. Go and get Thuram as well, Marcus Thuram. I thought he would have been perfect to supplement a Højlund, because we need that option. You can't trust Martial to come off the bench. I personally can't do it. So bringing in someone else as well to play off each other and to learn from is what Højlund needed, I think.
Absolutely. Someone in the chat says Smalling is better than most of United back four. You do realise that.
And I agree with that as
I'm
well.
not saying he's not. I think Chris Smalling's a good centre-back. Do not get me wrong. I think Chris Smalling's a good centre-back. I'm just saying,
when you say that's
when
the
you're
best
in the Champions League, if that's the best you've come up against, you're going to be up against the best of the best. I'm not saying that that United that you centre-backs are better than him. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying, although I think Varane is, for example.
And I find it wild that, unless he didn't play against him, but Kim Min-jae was in the Serie A last season alongside him when he was at Atalanta. So he mustn't have played against him, because I thought Kim Min-jae yesterday was fantastic.
Yeah,
and it just slapped you in the face to think, why did we not get him?
Kim Min-jae was... See, a lot of people in the chat saying, someone said another Martial or Højlund's been exposed, and
he's 20
I think people need to be patient, but what I would say is, we're going to get another caller in, is how many times we could... This is what, to be fair, in hindsight, makes me appreciate what Ronaldo did in that team.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable to score the amount of goals he did in that horrible Rangnick era, in that team that doesn't create anything. And how many strikers are we going to go through? I feel like every single summer we're saying we need a new striker, we need a new striker. The team does not create Martial has been called out for it for years. People are now starting to get on the back of Højlund's back.
Yeah.
Weghorst couldn't get anything when he was there. Okay, he's not creme de la creme, but I mean, it makes what Ronaldo did even better.
We've had so many, Cavani,
and I didn't realise it at the
Ronaldo.
time. I mean, Cavani was excellent, I think.
Yeah, and again, another player that showed that he could create a lot of chances out of nothing. You think of that goal against Everton, wasn't anything on at their ground, and he scored that cracking goal in it, and even the Fulham goal as well. He was a top-class striker, and even they struggled in this team, and it'll continue to happen until we start to play in a way that is built for strikers to score goals, and at the moment, we're just not built for that.
And Faz would say, why isn't the coach getting that out of him?
Well, I agree with that. Do you know, the ex-strikers United have had that are in coaching, how we don't have them at the club, like giving them job. Andy Cole, Dwight York.
Tell you what I'd be doing. I'd be getting whoever Cavani's coach was when he was younger coming through, and I'd be getting him in.
The strikers we've had, even Van Nistelrooy was a manager, I know that, but at the time he was a coach at PSV, and I was like, get him over to Manchester United. Imagine Rude working alongside our strikers. It'd be like, I know we've got Benny McCarthy, but for me, he's not a Rude Van Nistelrooy, he's not a Dwight York, he's not an Andy Cole. Get these guys in and get them working with our forwards.
Well, that's a very good point. Next up, we have Finn wanting to talk about McTominay. Finn, are you with us?
Hi, Finn. Are you there, mate?
You there, Finn?
Hello.
Hi, Finn.
Pal.
Welcome to the show. So you wanted to talk a little bit about Scott McTominay. I feel like this is a big talking point at the moment. I mean, the guy could score goals, but a 90-minute midfield performance is hard to come by. So what are your opinions, Finn?
I'm Scottish, so obviously I'm gonna love Scott McTominay till the day I die. But yeah, I don't think he's being utilised well in the team because it's obvious he isn't a midfielder.
Yeah.
He's obviously a lot better when he's up front, so I think he should realistically be played more as a false nine or a centre forward. You know, maybe pair him up with Højlund, pair him up with someone else up front because it's obvious he can make a few decent passes and he can score goals.
Well, yeah.
He was up front last night with Højlund.
Yeah,
and the furthest forward apart from Højlund.
And I did have a look at the problem is, and I did have a look at some of his stats today because I thought he was going to be a topic of discussion. I think he only had one pass in the final third. I think if you're that far up, I mean, what are you doing during that 90 minutes when you're playing, quite advanced and further than Bruno? I've had to change his name from McMail to McCasper because I'm fed up of him disappearing in games. Last night for me, he was rolling around that pitch like a sprout badger. I had no idea what was going on at times, honestly. And I think I'm not a fan of his, and I don't think he should be a player that's consistently starting for Manchester United. I don't think it doesn't matter where you put him. I don't think he's a good enough footballer to warrant playing. And I think Mainu coming on, and he contributed more in the first couple of minutes of him coming on than McTominay did for the whole game. And I don't think players should be consistently starting for Manchester United just because they've scored a couple of goals when we're crying out for midfielders to help Amrabat. And I felt Amrabat had a poor game last night. But I
don't think he was that bad.
But I think he was worried. And
he was just left alone.
And that's the reason why it probably makes him look like he's having a worse game because he's not getting that help.
I actually thought he did well considering the lack of help he had, to be honest.
Yeah, but I think it's one of them sometimes. I think teams are figuring out that he can be pressed upon quite quickly, and I think he's scared and he falls over and he's giving the ball away a little bit too much. But a lot of it is down to not getting that help from his teammates. And as good as McTominay is for Scotland, and yes, he comes on and scores a couple of goals for Manchester United effectively. And you have to compare him to other teams we're now aspiring to be. Spurs, Newcastle. I know Newcastle have wanted to buy him, but at this moment in time, he isn't getting any other big club for me. I don't think he starts or for any big team. And I look at it and I want to be United to be the best. So I also have the highest standards. So for me, I'm like, why should he be playing for Manchester United?
We'll ask Finn that question.
Faz made this point earlier.
Finn, also, on the back of that, when have you seen McTominay make a good pass? He can only shoot. He's not a passer.
When he plays for Scotland, he makes good passes.
We'll just have to wear Scotland shirts then, won't we, for our games?
No. Go on, sorry.
I'm going to be honest. Faz made a point earlier in the Discord and he says it was the same point and it was about the low. The level that Manchester United are right now, the low is the standard. And I think at the level we're at right now, if McTominay is utilised properly, that would be the standard. Of course, he's not going to be here forever. Mm-hmm. I don't want him to be here forever because it's pretty obvious as a United fan, I don't think
when we get better, obviously in the next few years, hopefully, I don't think he should still be here. I think he should move on to another club where he can do the same stuff at that level because, yeah, it's just pretty obvious right now.
So do you think he's good enough to be he should be starting over the likes of Mainu now?
For where we are?
It depends really, because I think Mainu is, from what I've seen of him, because I'm going to be honest, it was a 4 a.m. game for me. And I watched 45 minutes of it and just, yeah, that was it. And yeah, I think Mainu should be starting a bit more, and he should rotate the players a lot more because, yeah, you can't have like Mason Mount, Kobe Mainu, Amrabat, Bruno Fernandes in your midfield and not play all of them. Obviously, Mount's injured at the moment, but when he's back, he should definitely be starting over McTominay. McTominay should come in as an impact player or as a rotational option if Mason Mount or Bruno Fernandes or Amrabat or Mainu needs rested.
Here we go, Finn. That's what I wanted to hear.
Fair, no, that's fair
I
enough.
think he is an impact sub. I would keep him as an impact sub, but over the course of 90 minutes, he just does not provide enough. But
Casper, that's what he is.
Finn, thank you very much for the call.
Yeah, thank you very much, Finn.
Can I also just say?
Yeah, go on.
Can I also just say, if you look over McTominay's career, has he ever had a span of games where he started every single one of them like he has right now? So I think it's up to his fitness, because if you look in the past, he's not really done
I
however many
wouldn't put
games
it down
he
to
started.
fitness, Finn. I have to disagree there. He's one of the. You look at him; he's one of the fittest players I think you'll see in football, and I think he's played a lot of games for Manchester
Sometimes
United.
you're just not good enough.
Yeah, personally, I don't think he's technically.
He's
good
a goal
enough.
scorer. He can find the back of the net, absolutely. But we've also
he can't do what we're asking him to do.
He's not. He can't. For me, as a midfielder, you've got to be able to. Especially as a box-to-box, you've got to be able to put in a decent tackle.
Yep.
Don't have to be amazing at it unless you're a holder.
Yep.
You've got to be able to put in a decent tackle. You've got to be very athletically fit. Okay, he is that.
Yep.
You've got to be able to have a good shot, be able to take set pieces, have good free kicks, have good crosses into the box, have good passes.
Yep.
And know where to receive the ball. Always be able to take it on the half turn.
Yeah.
Know where the danger is. Know where the gaps are in the forward line to create chances. McTominay, he doesn't know the right position to be on the pitch.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the right anticipation of where the danger is or where the... To be fair, he's got better at getting in the right places going forward. Absolutely. And he knows where the back of the net is, but his creation, his passing, his crosses... he has less touches than Onana. That's my issue over the course of 90 minutes. He needs to be more involved.
So do you think Mourinho's misprofiled him then? When he first came into the team, he'd been misprofiled as this 8-6 midfielder, and effectively that's cost him.
For him, because I don't think this is his position either. He doesn't give enough in the position he's in now.
Yeah, no,
but obviously he gives
agree.
more because he's getting in the box more. For me, he is an impact sub. If that is that is a position in football, that's what he would be.
Yeah,
but
it just worries me when you're talking about football and I ask fans of McTominay all the time to list his best attributes, and it's long down the list before they actually get to the actual footballing ability ones. It's he's passion. He's been trusted by the managers. He runs around a lot for you. He's got energy. He puts his physicality about, and it's like, well, tell me something he's good when he's got the football at his feet. And now we're seeing that yes, when he's in the box, he can be a lot more dangerous. But he started playing for us in 2017, and I think for me, he has to be top 3 players that need to leave the club as soon as possible.
I know I wouldn't want him to leave because I think he knows what United is about, and I think he's got the right attitude. And he can score a goal off the bench. I think he's an impact sub. And to be fair, if you're trying to shore up a game, he can come on and get a body in the box. He's quite tall. I think for me, he should be a 20-minute option off the bench, like a super sub. That's what
you're looking at Mainu. I'd rather promote Mainu.
But I want Mainu to be a starter.
Yeah, but I think he's far too young to do that, though. I think if we get rid of McTominay and bring in a starter, and then you've got Mainu coming through that eventually can take over a Casemiro.
I think McTominay is good to have as someone who knows the club from the academy and can make an impact.
For now,
not
yes.
As a starter.
But if we want to be a great football club again and a great football team who plays great football, we need better than McTominay, I feel.
We need better than a lot of
McTominay
players.
does really good set pieces. I'm going to be honest.
Takes them all.
I don't know if you saw, but his
that free kick against Spain was unbelievable. But I'm talking
and it was complete bias that it didn't get in.
Okay, yeah, it should have gone in that should have counted. I'm talking about not only set piece, but I'm talking about crosses. I'm talking about long balls. I'm talking about through balls. He has none of it.
No, he did one.
Sometimes
long ball yesterday.
I see a long ball on and he just turns back and just sideways pass.
I think he did one. He did one yesterday.
But Finn, we've got to move on to somebody else. But thank you very much for calling up.
Take care, pal. Yeah, I
Thank
mean,
you very much.
There's such
Do you know what
big
someone
fans.
Do you know what someone said to me the other day, and you're not going to get your head around it? I'll quickly say it because you need to
Go
get on
on.
to another caller. Someone messaged me, I won't say the name. My controversial opinion is that if Scott McTominay was in a team like Real Madrid, he'd be like Jude Bellingham.
Okay.
And I thought, okay.
Yeah, I might have to sit on that one for a while.
Okay, and I thought, and Joey Barton has a problem with women. Excuse me. It was a male that said that to me, by the way. Not that it matters. Everyone can have their own opinion, but I was absolutely dumbfounded.
That is a strange one. Let's quickly move on before I think about that too much. The next call we've got is Ash, and Ash wants to know if it's acceptable for us to lose 5-6-7 at Anfield on Sunday. And everything still be a process.
Short answer is no.
No, absolutely not. Ash, are you there, pal? I'm really interested to see and hear your take on this one, mate.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Ash.
Hi.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, great. How you both doing? All right?
I'm good, thank you.
I'm
Hope
okay,
you're
mate.
I'm doing well enough considering we're out of Europe.
Yeah.
Well, I got 3 points really. My first
More
one
than
is
United
obviously,
got.
this process. If we get stuffed 5, 6, 7, 8 at Anfield, is that acceptable? Again, that'd be this. It's
not, is it?
Going there and not putting up a fight is worrying.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm wrestling whether I should watch the game at all or not. I think I'm really quite worried.
We all feel like that.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah, it's a worrying prospect, and someone sent me the list of all the players that are unavailable, and including the injuries from last night, and it's scary reading to see the players that might not be playing on Sunday, and we've got to go and.
But to be fair, me and Ricky made a point last season that obviously the team that played against Liverpool at Anfield last season was like our strongest team.
Yeah.
Martinez was in it, Ram was in it, I think.
Fran,
you had
that was
Eriksen,
just
but
terrible. Wasn't
yeah,
it?
it
The
was.
performance
And
there was horrific.
well, me and Ricky said you could have played you could have played like our second team and like a lot of the youngsters, and it wouldn't have been 7-0. It was just a one-off, like crazy day.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
realistically, there's no excuse for 7-0 on any standard. But I do think we are in a poor position going into that game. Yeah, we are in a poor position.
It's one of them grounds where they feed on your weakness. They feed on if they smell blood, the crowd and the players are on you. And we know this
also,
team will put
my
their heads
second
down.
point would be, when he come in the club, Ten Hag, I was really excited. Then he wanted Frankie de Jong, and it was like, oh, brilliant. He's finally realised that we need a world-class midfielder, and he is it.
Yeah.
But he is now neglecting the midfield tactically. It's inept. It's horrific. I mean, I'm not being funny. Under nines would run through us at the moment. The way he's got us set up, it's really poor.
Ash, why do you think this is? Have you got an answer or an opinion on why you think this is all of a sudden started happening?
I honestly have no idea because Klopp and Guardiola would not leave the midfield exposed like this. I don't understand. It's not personnel because you could just ask McTominay to sit in. I know he's not the player to do it, but you can't leave somebody on their own in the most important area of the pitch. I mean, Guardiola's now putting stones and pushing him in to make the midfield more compact and control the game. We're just opening up even more, which is such a worry that teams just run through us like wolves.
It's like because it's like in the summer he was saying he wants to be the best transition team in the world, and it's like he's almost not coming away from that idea.
The worst thing about it is we're not even good in attacking transition.
No.
We're not even good going forward. I'd be all right with it if in attacking transition we were left, right, centre, goal. Buzzing,
my dad was getting frustrated.
But we get
night.
forward, we're all statues, and it's slow and static. And then we've got so many people forward, but we still can't find a cross into the box.
It's strange.
And then they nick the ball off us, and there's like Paul Amrabat on his own.
Say that again.
Yeah,
sorry,
Liverpool transition as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But that was getting really frustrated last night.
My last point would be, I think it is going to be over for him. I mean, I support United. I'm worried. I think it is. You can give him time and time, but this tactically inept stuff in the midfield's a worry. And I would possibly get, there's a great candidate up there. You're asking for solutions. Hansi Flick won the treble for Bayern. They don't do it very often.
But
he's a really good coach.
Mark made a really good point. Sorry, Ash.
Completely different.
Just to combat that, Mark made a really good point about Hansi Flick, because obviously the whole backlash that he said about give us a solution. Hansi Flick is no different than Ten Hag in being a disciplinarian. And we already know these players have problems with discipline because they don't want to train when it's dark. They don't want to train when it's cold.
We need to stick with the discipline.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah, I get the discipline, but I don't think Flick would leave us open in midfield. I just don't see it.
Okay.
Whether it's Ten Hag or not, I think we should stick with Ten Hag for now. Absolutely, I'm still on this journey with him.
But
whether it's Ten Hag or not, the coach, if we do get somebody else in, which I think would be a mistake, I really do.
Yeah.
Especially this early on, I think we need to stick with the process. But even if we did get somebody else in, it has to be a disciplinarian because then players need it.
You need standards. You need the standards.
Like Hans Flick, I think he would be. He's a free, so it just makes sense to me.
Well, I can understand your point, but this is why I think we have to stick with Ten Hag because he's finally setting standards and he's setting a culture. I think you've got to allow him to continue with it. And when he's been under, if he's been under Sir Jim and if he's done more recruitment and if he's sticking with this tactic that isn't working and we get to a point where it's just, we just know it's not going any further, then I can understand the point. But now I feel like he's midway through a job.
Yeah.
And I feel like we need to stick with it a bit more. But there is,
I think so.
But you can say that, and there is certainly question marks. Certainly question marks. But quickly, Ash, quick score prediction for the weekend.
Oh my God. I would love us to get a draw there, but I can't see it. If we can keep the score under 4, I'd be happy. I just don't see. I'm worried about a high score.
Yeah.
Ash, I think everybody is, but thank you for calling.
Thank you, Ash. Really great call, pal.
Thank
Have
you.
a good day.
You too. Take care.
You too. A lot of people in the chat are saying they agree with Ash on the Hansi Flick shout.
Yeah, I don't agree with me personally. I don't know if.
I'm not even thinking about other managers right now.
No, I don't want to. But the only reason I'm asking that question is because, like I say, there's too many Ten Hag outers. They can't give you a solution. They can't tell you who could come in and do better. They can't.
Should impersonate fast. Zinedine Zidane.
Well, we've seen what happened with that one. We wrote a goal, but I still get likes from a tweet about that all the time. That clip about that, but they can't give you an answer on how we become good again if we get rid of Ten Hag now. And listen, like you keep saying, Rome wasn't built in a day, and you have to trust.
People hate that quote.
Well, it's true though. It's absolutely true. And I know football has moved on. It's all about quick results. Success has to be done today. We can't wait for tomorrow. It has to be done now. But Manchester United, where we are, and again, saying similar to what DZ was saying, I hate comparing us to Arsenal. We shouldn't do it. But the way they have done it has looked like it's worked.
Patience.
Patience, it sometimes has to be key. And the fact we've jumped around from different managers, the old manager's choice, the old head, one of the best in the world, and a former player. We've been through it all, and we've got the sort of the up and coming manager now in Ten Hag. Everyone wanted, linked with Liverpool and City and taking over Pep. When Pep finally goes, we've got that man that we all wanted. So I think if we just have to kind of trust in him to get it right, and if he doesn't, then he needs to go. But at this moment in time, I think it's just far too early. Got
some super chats in. Red Devil, let's give him sporting board judge chairman. The club's been a mess for a decade. Yep. Martin Tracy says, I want to see structural change at the club before sacking the manager. Flash Talk says, Sancho back on Sunday. That will shock us all. And
Imagine.
International 2675 says, good enough, then old enough. Many chances missed. Oscar says, I can't understand why we've got Mount and Anana instead of Kim Min-jae. I wish Eric Ten Hag stays, but we have to be prepared for the worst. Grace Sheridan says, what sort of formation suits the current set of players? I think 4-4-3, but with a double pivot personally.
Yeah.
Cyber, so 4-2-3-1, what we used to play under all. Cyber Spider says, even if you swap Eric for another disciplinary manager, this dressing room knows they can get rid of him. The dressing room needs to change. Yeah, exactly. Not sacking the manager holds the players accountable. They need to know when the going gets tough, you don't just get to sack a manager. You have to stick through it.
Exactly. Stick by your man.
LJ says, let's remove Eric Ten Hag, a disciplinarian, and bring in a disciplinarian. Wow, wow, wee, wow.
Right, Kev.
Yeah, it feels like Kev's on the show. But quickly, because the show is running out, we get another caller in. We have Arad in the show. Arad?
Hello, Arad. Are you there?
Arad, are you with us?
Hiya, Beth. Yes, I'm here.
Thought you'd done a Scott McTominay then, it disappeared.
You responded to the singing. Arad, hope you're doing okay considering last night, but let's get straight into it because we are a little bit short on time. You want to talk about the lack of balance. I mean, there is a lot of lack of balance in the team, but where's Ten Hag going wrong with this?
I just think we can't seem to get it right with regards to the games we play. Like, we either score 4 and concede 5, or 3 and 4. It's like it's either a basketball match or we struggle to create any chances. And I know last night was better in some sense. I mean, we didn't get slapped up, which many people thought we might. But even then, Bayern didn't have too many clear-cut chances. So in that aspect, it was better. We did look a little more solid. But then it's like the games we do not concede that many chances, we don't create anything. I think we had 5 shots and none of them were inside the box. I can only remember Bruno having 1 clear-cut chance, and even that, I mean, he could have done better and got it on target.
Yeah.
But it's like we can't find that balance, and I do think it all lies in the midfield. I think we're playing McTominay in the hope that he gets a goal out of nowhere, and that does stifle everything else we do. And I don't get the obsession with McTominay, and I know it's not about one player, and obviously he's not the reason we're at the Champions League, but this is not a problem that we've just faced in the league. In the Champions League. I think it's followed us all season round, where we're either scoring 1-0 and winning, against Luton and Sheffield and Burnley, teams we should be burying, or we're conceding 3 and 4. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm on the same page with you on that one. Another thing that kind of threw me yesterday that I want to ask you about is Ten Hag spoke about the balance of, the centre-backs. His philosophy is to play a left-footed centre-back on the left side, and that's the tactical reasons for leaving Varane out, is because he wants someone comfortable on the left foot on the left side, and he didn't think he could do it. But then Johnny Evans, who he was playing for that reason, to play on the left side, Johnny Evans comes on last night, plays on the right side as a left footer, and Varane plays on the left side. Like, how does that make sense?
Make it make sense, please. Yeah.
It doesn't, to be honest. But I think we're all on the same page when we say a lot of the decisions Ten Hag's made in game and generally with the setup haven't made much sense. I think I've never been so 50-50 on whether I believe in a manager or not. It's like,
I'm with you on that.
I'm probably 51. Yeah. I'm 51% in and 49% out, because it's like, and when I say I'm out, I don't mean Ten Hag out, but it's like just checking out of this whole project and kind of saying, let's wait till the end of the season. So Jim comes in, whatever happens, happens. But if we do a clear out, what I want to see is not for Ten Hag to go and the players to stay. It's like, if he's going, I think 5 or 6 at least players have got to go with him, and then I wouldn't mind looking at a new project. So I've never been so split on a manager before, and it's hard because you want to back him, but then it's all these decisions like you brought up as well. The centre backs are inconsistent. Even his reasoning for picking and starting certain players don't make sense. Like, McTominay doesn't do much and plays, and then Rashford doesn't do anything and still plays 90% of our games. I'm sure if he was fit last night, he'd be on the pitch. So it doesn't make much sense what he's trying to do, and I've lost sight of the whole project, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I think the level-headed Manchester United fans at the moment are definitely sort of understanding, not just the manager, and understanding the constraints that he works under and the playing squad that he has. But yes, at the same time, like myself, I'm sure you are holding him accountable for the bad decisions that he's making, and I think that's fair to do that. But I think, that 51% you're saying is kind of allowing yourself to give him time to try and turn it around and get it right. What I've asked you, Ash, obviously talking about certain players. Arad, sorry. What's your starting lineup for Liverpool? I'll be interested to know that.
Well, it's a good question. It depends who's fit. I think Mark said it. It's getting to that time now where we don't even know what players are up for it. But assuming that the squad of last night is available, I'd stick with Onana. There's no reason in changing him. I think it just causes more unrest.
Quickly,
probably Wan-Bissaka.
Quickly, Aaron, before you carry on, because this is a point I wanted to make. Someone just put a super chat in saying bring back De Gea as a free agent and sell Onana. Onana's getting a lot of stick. Matt went absolutely in on him last night. I get blaming Onana for being out of the group. I get people doing that. But blaming him for us losing that game was not on. We didn't create any chances. We never looked like scoring in a month for Sundays. And that goal, maybe he could have done a bit better.
He needs to do better in that situation.
But I think to blame that whole game us losing on him 1-0 is just a bit too far.
That's not to do that. But the goal, for me, I expect my keeper to do a lot better. He had the freedom of Old Trafford. It doesn't matter. You have to try. You have to look like you're trying. He didn't look like he was trying at all. And you know, it's right in front of me. I was looking at it. He needs to do better, and this is what's letting him down. This is what's turning fans against him.
Look, I agree. He could have done better, but I do agree with Beth. He's not the reason we lost yesterday.
No, I agree.
He's a big reason of why we're out of the Champions League. That I can get on board with.
Yeah.
But the reason I say don't drop him is just that, like, we've got enough unrest as it is from the whole club, top to bottom. There's unrest with the sale, with the management, with Rashford, Sancho. Like, there's a lot going on that we know isn't right, and I just think dropping Onana doesn't necessarily fix it. But also, we don't know what Bayindir brings to the team. We've not seen him, so it's too big a risk to take. And to be honest, I mean, Ricky always says this: doesn't matter who we pick, we can always lose a game to Liverpool at Anfield. So, you know, it's like if there's a game to drop Onana, that's not the game to do it. Maybe Wigan in the FA Cup. That's one I'd like to see Bayindir come in. Also with the AFCON coming up, and just wanting to see what we've got when he's gone, Onana. But yeah, I definitely don't think Onana out is the right team. To be honest, going back to your question in the starting 11 very quickly, I don't mind who he plays. I just don't want to see McTominay in the midfield. I want to have a double pivot of Mainu and Amrabat. I don't want Rashford in the team. I don't want Martial in the team.
Who would you bring in to replace Bruno?
Bruno's out. To be honest, Hannibal. It depends on injuries. Like, if Mount was available, I'd love Mount to have a game at the number 10 spot. But
an earlier caller said he'd like Mainu to come in with Amrabat and push McTominay further up. Would you go for that?
I would in the sense that he's at least playing further forward, but I still think we're playing with 10 men when he's there, because obviously a number 10's job is not just to score goals and create, but you've got to link up the play, and he just doesn't do that enough for me.
Yeah,
I tell you one thing, Arad, is I agree with you there, because I think people saying play McTominay is a 10. Okay, he can score goals. He's got no creativity.
I'd rather have Donny van de Beek.
No creativity.
I'd rather have Donny van de Beek. If anyone heard that noise,
Donny's a good shout.
Yeah, I wish United were on fire.
No. I think that was a buzzer to say Arad's the caller of the show so far.
Alarm.
I think that was a celebration buzzer.
Arad, thank you so much for
thank you so much, Arad.
Quickly, score prediction, quick.
I think he said 4-0, didn't he?
I haven't said it, but I can go with 3 or 4-0 to Liverpool.
3 or 4, see?
Understandable. Thank you, Arad, for calling up.
Thank you, Arad.
That's how the clubs are making us feel. We're predicting 3 or 4-0 against Liverpool. It's so
I just don't want to even think about it. Like I said, I'm in two minds whether to watch it or not. I don't think I can do that to myself.
a good shout. That could definitely happen.
But then you have to look at Ten Hag there, and he's mismanaged another player, because he should have been playing he should have been the cup keeper. There's no reason for him to play Onana if he's playing Champions League and Premier League. Let Bayindir have the Palace game, then have the Newcastle game, and you see early on in the season what he's made of. We have no idea what he is. I made a list today of players I'd probably keep if I could get rid of any amount of players in the squad who I would keep. I put Bayindir and I had to put in brackets. Don't know what he can do. I'll keep him because I don't know if he's good or not, and that's on Ten Hag. That we shouldn't have to wait till January to see a player that we could see early on. If Onana's going to go to AFCON, if he's got the stones to fill in for him, it's really bad management on that for me. I think it's something Ten Hag's let him down on.
I think he was trying to stick with Onana as his first choice for his.
Yeah.
Because obviously he's had a bit of a shaky start. I think he wanted to stick with him as his first choice. And to be fair, a lot of clubs do have that first choice. Like,
I get that, but we were really good in the past. Romero was brilliant at coming in and doing great in cup competitions, and he had that record of not losing for so long. Give him a chance, and he's signed for Manchester United from Fenerbahce. I imagine he's buzzing. He's got the number 1 jersey in number alone, obviously. Let him have a taste of Old Trafford in a cup game. There's no reason not to do it.
I absolutely loved Romero.
I
am excited to see what Bayindir could offer, to be honest. But
has to play for Wigan.
Thank you, Double A.
Thank you for having us, Beth.
Yeah.
Good as always.
It was good because
we were so on fire. We set the alarm off. You know what I mean? That's how good it was.
I am gutted we're out of Europe, but I feel like coming out of the show, I have so much more balance in my thought process because of all the lovely callers and all your comments as well.
I needed this therapy because I went on the forum last night, and that emotion, I couldn't even watch the forum, unfortunately, because I had to go home and get in bed. But now I feel like I'm back down to earth and I can look clearly again.
Yeah, and thank you everyone for the community for your chats as well. If you want to get involved, the Discord link is in the description for the next one. Last couple of super chats is Anil says, Bruno and McTominay don't have composure or can't move past a player with the ball. No point in building from the back when the midfield will lose possession. Football or Soccer says, you guys are allowing your standards to drop. Yes, these players aren't good, but just like the players are held accountable, so should the manager. And Sultan says, if you could just have one player back for the game on Sunday, who would you have? Roy Keane.
Any player ever or the squad, actual squad?
Oh, I thought he meant.
Maybe
Let me have a look. I thought he meant from the squad.
Oh yeah.
If it was from the squad.
Casemiro. Or maybe Martinez. Or maybe Martinez.
Or maybe Martinez, and then Roy Keane. But thank you everyone for. Rude's a good choice. Thank you everyone for your input. Get in the comments what your thoughts are as well. Hit a like on the video if you enjoyed these call-in shows. We'll be back throughout the week with more for you, but stay tuned for more shows later on. And there's something very exciting coming on the United Stand very soon, so watch out for that. But thank you everyone. We'll see you on the next one.